All right, hey guys. Heading into NFL Week 8, so I'm going to make my picks. Today's Thursday. So typically I'm going to try to get my picks out by Friday night if I can. But I'm going to get it out tonight because I have a bet on the Thursday night game, which starts in like 5 minutes. So I'm just going to get this bet out. But I'm going to give out 5 games this week that I like. Typically, I like three teams, maybe four. But I looked at the card this week. There's 5 games that I like, so I'm going to give out those. So tonight's game and then 4 on Sunday. So for tonight's game, which probably can see back there, starts in like 5 minutes. The Falcons at Carolina. Carolina -3 that I got them at. I'm taking Atlanta +3. So Atlanta, a very difficult loss on Sunday against the Lions. Listen, this team has screwed me year in and year out. I lost them. I picked them in Survivor against Chicago earlier in the year. We all know how that went. They had this big lead. It was right after the week they blew that game against Dallas. Then they had the big lead against Chicago, and Chicago got like 21 points in the fourth quarter and won. I don't know, they screwed me last week. I picked against them, against this Carolina team a couple of weeks ago when I won my 14 parlay. I took Carolina, and Carolina won. So that's part of the reason why I'm going with Atlanta for this one. I know what I seem to die with this team all the time. I'm due for one with the Falcons. They lost against Carolina a couple weeks ago at home. They're in Carolina tonight. This team has absolutely nothing to lose. They're terrible. But I don't think Carolina is all that great. The tough loss for Atlanta on Sunday, I think, actually benefits them on a short week. Short week in division games aren't as big of a disadvantage for the road team. And the Falcons can quickly, after a loss like that, you just want to get right back out there and try to get a win. And I think that's what they're going to do tonight. They're a 3-point dog. I'm taking the Falcons. Pick number 2. So this is one where when I looked at this line, it looked really trappy. And that's the Vikings at Packers. The Packers open at -6.5, which I felt was weird because why not Vegas just set this line at 7 and let the public dictate where this number is going to go. 6.5 is like trappy. Like people are going to be all over Green Bay this week. The line is now down to -6, so people I guess are maybe heading on Minnesota. I got the Vikings at +7, and like I said, the line at 6 right now. So at +7, I think their odds are like -145. I put them in a parlay, so essentially it's a -110 when they're really valued at -145. So I'm getting the better of the number. Taking the Vikings +7. Just as strictly a numbers game. I don't know. It just looked weird. The Packers might blow them out, but this is a trappy game if you're taking the Green Bay. So be careful if you're going to take Green Bay in this game. Minnesota's coming off the bye. They lost against Green Bay already this season at home. Mike Zimmer is 8-0 against the spread in revenge games. So off the bye, they might get Dalvin Cook back this week. I think it's a spot where Minnesota can stay close. They typically do well on the road against superior teams. We saw that a few weeks ago. I cashed them at +7.5 in Seattle on Sunday night. So they are capable of keeping these games close. You never feel good betting Kirk Cousins. He's not great. Obviously, Green Bay has a massive advantage at quarterback. But I think everywhere else, they can kind of hold their own. So I'm going to take the Vikings at +7. Third game, 1 o'clock, Vegas at Cleveland. Cleveland's -2.5. I'm taking Vegas at +2.5. Both these teams don't have a great defense, and both these teams can score points. So maybe you look at the over if you want to bet a total. But I think the Raiders are also another team coming off a bye, like the Vikings are, and they had a tough loss before the bye. I believe they lost at home against Tampa, and they got beat up pretty bad. They're coming off a bye. I think they're going to respond well. Cleveland's all kind of feeling great about themselves after a win, and Baker Mayfield throwing 5 touchdowns against Cincy. I like Vegas in this spot. I think they can score. Cleveland's defense isn't great. They're battling a lot of injuries. Beckham's out for the year. I don't know if Myles Garrett's going to play. They're just banged up. And give me the Raiders. I hope Jacobs plays. I think he's been limited in practice this week so far, but give me the Raiders. It's going to be, I think, a high-scoring game. They're getting points here, albeit only a field goal. I talked about last video how teams typically, if they win, they're going to cover the spread on these small spreads. But I think Vegas wins this game outright. So if you're going to give me any points, I'm going to take Vegas in this spot. My last two are the 4:30 games, or 4:25 starts. So I'm taking, one of them is New Orleans at Chicago. So I'm taking the Saints -4. Defensively, obviously, Chicago is better. But offensively, Chicago is just anemic. How are they going to keep up against New Orleans? New Orleans has actually been playing better on the road for the last 5 years, if you look at their numbers. The Saints, I know they're not going to have Thomas, I don't think, in this game. Callaway's going to be out, so they are battling some injuries. Chicago might be without Allen Robinson with concussion, so a lot of receivers going to be missing in this game. But New Orleans is still a deeper team. They have a better quarterback, obviously. They have Kamara still. They have a better coach. And New Orleans seems like they're getting things together here. This might be a time in the season where they get rolling a little bit. Chicago, to me, they're 5-2. It's time to fade these guys. They're going to regress a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit eventually passed this team in the division. Give me the Saints -4. And my last pick, big NFC West matchup. I'm a huge Rams fan. I'm watching this division closely every year. This is the first time I think in NFL history that going into week 8, every team in the division is over 500. And that's complete opposite of what's going on in the NFC East, which is a train wreck. But you got the Seahawks, who are 5-1. The Rams and Arizona are 5-2, and I believe the Niners are 4-3. But the Niners at Seahawks, I'm taking Seattle -3. This is strictly just more of a gut feeling, and I typically like going by the numbers. But Seattle is one of those teams where it's very hard to pick against them unless, it's a very good spot for the other team, like Minnesota a couple weeks ago. 7.5, +7.5 Sunday night. It was a good spot for the Vikings. But this game here, San Francisco had a big win last week in New England. And they look great. And they're back on the road again. And Seattle's coming off a road loss. I don't see them losing the way they did last week in a shootout against Arizona. And now coming back and losing another divisional game here. Seattle, if they had beaten Arizona, maybe I look towards San Francisco in this spot. But having lost Arizona the way they did, I think they get back on track here. This is a huge game. And this is a little bit of a revenge game. Remember last year when San Fran beat Seattle to win that division in Week 17 where Seattle was 1 yard short. This is in the back of Seattle's mind. San Fran's still battling a lot of injuries. Seattle's defense isn't great, which makes me a little nervous. Kittle will probably have a field day. But I hope Adams can come back for the Seahawks on defense. That's a huge piece, and he's been limited in practice so far this week, but I'm hoping he can come back because I like the Seahawks here. -3, I'm taking Seattle. If it's 3.5, okay, maybe I'll look San Fran's way, but I can't bet against Russell Wilson in this spot after a loss. So I'm going with the Falcons tonight, +2.5, or +3, sorry. I'm taking the Raiders at +2.5, the Vikings at +7. I'm taking the Saints at -4, and then I'm going to take the one I just said. Now I'm trying to remember who it was. I'm doing this all off the top of my head. The 4:30 game there, the Seahawks. There you go, at -3. So those are my 5. Hopefully we have a big week, and comment, like, subscribe, and we will touch base next week.